Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to One Piece, episode 987. And as a note, you are seeing this a couple days early, you may have noticed. If you missed my announcement, the reason is because this entire next week, from tomorrow, Monday, all the way to, once again, Monday, I am taking a mental health break. I've been just working this channel really hard, especially lately, and I need a break for that and other reasons as well, to just kind of refresh myself and be able to get back into things. So once we come back, though, next week, we will have 3 new shows starting up, 3 new reaction series. So that's going to be fun. But One Piece will be continuing, obviously, at that point. I just wanted to get this out before the break, so I decided to just put this up on Sunday instead of Tuesday as normal. Once we come back from the break, everything will be on its normal day, so everything will be good there. So yeah, last time we just continued to kind of have Luffy and Zoro wrecking shit. Apu got involved, used his music, but eventually was taken out by Kid. And the Tobiropo are on their way to start their mission of finding Yamato. And that's pretty much all last episode was. And the thing is, I know One Piece, I know the anime has to slow things down a bit. Just to make sure that it keeps up with the manga. I don't know if this was this slow in the manga, though. Because Wano is a huge arc, no matter what. It very much is. So I don't know if this part was slower in the manga too, but it's it's very clear that the last 2 episodes probably could have been condensed into one, or at least one and then a few carryover minutes or whatnot. But it's just, it felt like it was just dragged on with its content in order to, keep up the pacing difference between the manga and the anime, which is fine, but it does. I guess it's the problem for me when I know something's coming because of, unfortunately, spoilers, and I'm excited to get to that. But when they drag it out like this, it means I have to wait longer. I don't know exactly when Yamato's going to have his full debut, but I am very much looking forward to that. That I am super excited about that for various reasons, like all the hype that he gets. Like, he's excessively popular right now. Plus, there's other reasons, tiny little details I do know about his character, basically. Nothing like big plot-wise or anything. No huge things on what he can do or whatnot. Just little tidbits here and there are what I know. But they make me excited to see him in the anime and everything. And I already know what he looks like because, again, I've seen the art and I've been spoiled on that. But, again, I want to see him visually in the anime. I want to see him moving and all. I want to see him, interacting with things in that way. So I know that the more we drag this out, the longer it's going to be till we get to his reveal. But I'm still hoping it happens soon, because we did see that he was watching the Straw Hats. And again, we know the Tobiropo are being tasked with finding him. It's got to be soon, right? It's got to be. I hope it is. But there's a lot of other stuff to look forward to as well. I wonder if we're going to get a full-on Kid versus Apu fight, or if just Kid attacking Apu, that was really all we're going to get. I would like to see an actual full fight. I wonder if Kanjuro's ever going to actually like get to Orochi, because he still hasn't done so, and yet he was on Onigashima before any of these others, which is really funny to me that he's taking so long because he's getting lost in the underground tunnels or whatnot. Um, and I would love to see like some actual like bigger fights going on because like yeah, Apu attacking Zoro and Luffy and all was impressive. I wouldn't really call it a big fight. It was more along the lines of a distraction. And that's not to say Apu's weaker or anything. It's just to say it didn't really have like this scale and scope to it that the big fights in this series usually do. You can usually tell when it's a big fight. Usually the way it's set up, usually the way it's um, written, and the way the characters interact, you'll be able to tell that it's about to go down. When it comes out of nowhere, most of the time it's a distraction. It's a side fight. It's just something to add in further depth to the arc, and it works a lot of times. But still, it's like I want to see like someone take on Queen, like really take him on. I want to see King and Jack get into the fray. I want to see the Toby Ropo fight. I really want to see the Toby Ropo fight. Um, and so on and so forth. Those are going to be big fights, I feel. So I'm excited to see what they do with them. But I guess we'll have to just wait and find out. But even despite all of the dragging these last couple episodes have done, I still like them, and I still like some of the stuff we've got in them, such as Luffy and Zoro standing up for the people of Okobore Town and Ebisu Town and all, and just getting pissed off about these Animal Kingdom pirates wasting the red bean soup because of how much it means to Tama. It's like those kind of details I love. Not just because Oda has made us deeply care for this character, as he's done with many characters in the past, like Vivi is a great example, um, but specifically because it shows how important this is to both Luffy and Zoro. Like Luffy's had this kind of thing before, but Zoro, as I've pointed out in past reactions, he usually doesn't get this pissed off about stuff like this. Not as much as Luffy does. He usually is just like, I agree and I'll follow Luffy, but he doesn't get this actively pissed off usually. Usually. So to see that he takes this just as seriously, and he's just as infuriated by the way these Animal Kingdom pirates are, and he wants to help the people of Wano, and especially people like Tama and the citizens of Ebisu Town, uh, so much. It just goes to show Zoro has found a home here in a way. And it's like, it was always expected. Since the first time Wano was mentioned, and we heard that it was like this kind of samurai country and stuff, it's like we knew that Zoro was going to be big in this arc. And now that it finally arrived, it's like he is. And Zoro, like, he gets a new sword, one that belonged to Kozuki Oden. He gets a lot of screen time. Like, he was the first face we saw in this arc of the Straw Hats who weren't in the previous arc and on the ship coming to Wano. Of all the ones who were already here, he was the first face we saw, and there's a reason for that. Just like when we get to Elbaf, that is going to be very much Usopp's arc. This is Zoro's. And yeah, the other characters are still just as important, but it's very clear that Zoro is a highlighted character here, and I really love that. I love that Oda just kept to that, as was very well built up. And so I love that Zoro is just as invested in this country and in saving it and its people as Luffy is. So either way, we're just going to see how this goes and hope for the best. So let's begin. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, another episode that was good, but also another episode that was very much the same kind of stuff we've been getting. We continue this fight with the Pooh, and Kid, Luffy, Zoro, Killer, they're just trying to kind of escape while like only fighting as much as they need to now. Luffy wants to kind of go more covert again, while Kid is just like, that's not really his thing. And they're all yelling at each other for kind of ruining the plan. And we get to see a little bit of Killer's, like when he got the smile through the defective smile. And the reason why he ate it so readily was because he was promised it would help him be able to help his captain. And that's what mattered to him in that moment. Because we see in this episode how genuinely caring Kid is about his crew, and especially his first mate, Killer. Although Kid can be very aggressive and very rough in terms of his outward presentation, it's made very clear that he greatly values those he calls friends, and those in his crew are his friends. And the fact that such a tough and rumble, such a aggressive character can be shown to have a softer side like that is important. I love it when we see characters who are normally excessively tough and brutish and aggressive show that kind of level-headed, caring side to them, because it makes them feel human in a way. It makes them feel like a person who just may be more aggressive generally than most people, but still has something that they're fighting for, still has something that they care so greatly about that they will do anything to protect it. And yeah, just like with Luffy protecting his crew, that's with the same with Kid. They have that in common. And Law is the same way with his, so kind of rounding up that trio. Yeah, it's great to see. It's a great bit of development that really helps the Kid Pirates shine in this episode and just in general. Makes me like them all the more. We also get little flashes of everyone else. We see that the Tobiropo are starting their mission with specifically Who's Who, sending out some underlings to find Yamato, and being annoyed at Queen's little message that there's someone in the Tobiropo he wants to take out. But we also find that Who's Who has the same feeling. Who's Who also has someone in the Tobiropo he wants to take out. And the first immediate thought would be Sasaki, but the fact that he didn't say that blatantly at the end there, I almost feel like his rivalry with Sasaki is almost a red herring for us to believe that. I think he might want to take someone else out. But it might just be that simple. It might just be Sasaki. We'll have to see. But if there might end up being infighting with the Tobiropo, that could be interesting. And we also found out a little more about Black Maria, the largest member of the Tobiropo. Like, she is massive. Like, I don't know if she's quite on the level of a giant, but she is huge. We find out that she actually runs a pleasure hall on Onigashima, which I don't I'm not super familiar with all the different terminologies and everything regarding that kind of stuff. Like, I've not done a lot of research, but is a pleasure hall another way of saying a brothel? Because I very much know what a brothel is. Um, and we've kind of discussed that kind of stuff before in regards to like where Hiyori was working as Komurasaki and everything. Um, and from what I've heard through looking up more about Hiyori slash Komurasaki in regards to that, it seems like the idea with where she was working, it was mostly just like a more of just spending time with the ladies and like renting them out as like uh escorts basically. But that there it wasn't actually like a full on like, oh, you can just come here and pay to have sex with the girls and stuff kind of situation. Um, so I'm wondering, like, I'm just wondering, like, what is the specific terminology here, and how does it like work over and everything? Because I genuinely do not know all the ins and outs of that. But either way, it definitely enticed Sanji at first. But then when he found out it was empty because everyone had retreated after all of the shit began going down, um, he came out all sad and depressed. But before that, he did find out apparently he has a new kink that he wants to explore. After Shinobu crushed the balls of a bunch of the Animal Kingdom pirates for not uh, acknowledging her sexiness alongside Nami and Carrots. Um, and it's like, oh, okay, Sanji. I mean, good for you. Not my kind of thing, but good for you. Um, but yeah, I do like that Nami, Carrots, and Shinobu are kind of flaunting their sexiness to try and help continue on and everything. It's just it's kind of a combination of owning your sexuality, you know, like just being super confident in your body and just owning that side of yourself with just confidence and like just assuredness. But it's also at the same time like um, just intelligent action to take because it's like, yeah, you two are very attractive. All three of you are, even though not everyone will be nice regarding Shinobu. Um, it really irritates me about that, but it's like, honestly, that's how a lot of people are, unfortunately. So it's unfortunately kind of realistic in that regard. Um, but yeah, it's a smart tactic to use that. And there's a lot of people who would like bitch and complain like, oh, it's sexist. It's saying that women are only like useful for their bodies, and it's like one, these women have very heavily showed that that's not the case. Nami, Carrots, and Shinobu are excessively strong fighters. Maybe not as strong as the likes of Zoro and Luffy, of course, but they are very strong fighters and can very much handle themselves in other ways. And two, I actually feel it's a little more sexist to try and deny a woman her sexual agency to use as she pleases. Women should not be forced into this idea of uh, modesty because idiots out there think that it's sexist to be sexual for a woman to have sexual agency. It's like it's that's entirely fucked up. So I'm all for Nami, Carrot, and Shinobu flaunting whatever the fuck they want. Robin and anyone else too. Because we know they can fight otherwise, and we know that they do this as a legitimate tactic in order to further their goals. It's genuinely smart. and it will work, as we've seen. Because a lot of people say Oda is very horny because of the way he draws a lot of women and everything, with the big tits and the hourglass figures with the abnormally thin waists and everything. It's kind of a joke in the fandom to say Oda is horny. But let's be honest, it's not just Oda. A lot of the characters he has drawn in this series are also very much horny. Especially a lot of the male characters. It's like, because it always works. Whenever one of them like flaunts their bodies or everything, or just like acts flirtatious, it always works. And it's like, that wouldn't necessarily happen in real life. Like, yeah, there are a lot of people it would definitely work on, but there are also a lot of people, like, if someone just came up and started randomly doing that, would just be confused and would like, okay, you're sexy, but like, what's going on here? Like, people aren't like, they're, it's not as like cut and dry like that in the real world. Um, so it's like, it's not just Oda. It's like he makes his characters that way too, which it's like fair enough. It's like, I guess in this world, just people are horny. um, which, I mean, hey, nothing wrong with that. I'm not shaming anyone for that. That's completely fine. Um, but yeah, we get to see Robin and Jinbei are still just kind of blending in. Kinemon, his party has split up a second time, uh, trying to do a pincer attack on Orochi and Kaido. And so it's like, we've got some really interesting plans in the works here. But again, even though we got some more in this episode for sure, it's still much of the same thing we've had in the past couple episodes. It's been like this kind of like dragged out infiltration mixed with a lot of action driven by rage at the just pure shittery of the Animal Kingdom pirates. And it's like, that's all well and good, but you almost kind of want something a little more. You want new things to happen. You want something to shake things up in a way. Because it's like, we're getting some new information, but just generally the tone of everything that's going on is very much the same throughout these last few episodes. It's just, it's getting a little old, honestly. I just want to see more actually happen. I want to see more new stuff. I want to see more of the Toby Ropo acting. Because honestly, there's a lot of this with Luffy and Zoro and Kid and Killer taking on Apu and them that I feel could have been cut. Like, not all of it seems super important. Like, they didn't have to show every single scene of them fighting. They could have focused on the other characters a little more and put more gave more screen time to them. And if this is how it is in the manga, I mean, I could say the same for like Oda should have done it to in terms of the manga too. Well, I think Oda's a phenomenal mangaka. I don't think he's perfect. He has made some mistakes here and there. I mean, you have to remember, Long Ring Longland is canon. Foxy the Silver Fox is canon. Oda makes mistakes. But in all seriousness, um, I just feel like this could have been expedited a little more, all of this action. But I think Oda probably did want to show off Apu a little more because Apu really hasn't gotten a huge chance to shine yet. We saw him a little bit in Shabandi, but since then it's like he really hasn't been around. Like, we've gotten plenty with other members of the Worst Generation, so I think he wanted Apu to have a real chance to have a little bit of a focus here. And by having him take on these other members of the Worst Generation, that's honestly a fair way to do it. So I can get why it's done this way and why it might be dragging a little bit, but it is dragging a little bit. Um, and I again, I want something else to happen. I want it to focus on some other characters, and I just want something to shake it up to make it a little more interesting, a little more exciting, to really just bring forth something new that's going to make this even more epic as this infiltration continues. But we shall see when we get to that. As I mentioned in the pre-thoughts, we are going on a week break, Monday to Monday. So starting tomorrow, we will be off for 7 days until the 23rd. But on the 23rd, we will start posting because I count Monday as my start of the week for reactions and everything. So the 23rd, we'll start reactions again. But after that, we'll just kind of take it from there and just kind of see what we've got as we go along. But yeah, I am definitely interested to see where this goes. I am definitely interested to see how more of these missions pan out. And in the meantime, I would love to hear your thoughts. So tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this episode of One Piece? And thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.